Hello, slow parenting family from across the globe. Welcome to another episode of the Slow Parenting Podcast on Nostalgia Media. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for finding time to join us on this edition of the program. Today, as always, we're going to be looking at another interesting, issue which is challenging, interesting, useful issue in parenting job procedures or protocols. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the issue of co-parenting, how to make co-parenting work. Well, by the way, co-parenting, parents are share parenting roles, right? But in this case now, co-parenting is particularly uh, used to describe a situation where both parents, both partners, or both couples are no longer um, in a relationship or no longer living at the same place. They might still be in a relationship, but they might not be in the same place for so many reasons. So people could become co-parent for so many reasons. It could be as a reason of separation, cessation of the relationship that brought them together as husband and wife or common law partners, or a divorce. Okay, or well, in some cases, one of the partners passing away, and then the survivor one choosing someone else, and maybe they're not staying apart. In most cases, the issue is that both parents are not in the same place, and in most cases, is that most some of those parents are not uh, 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 if you like, they're no longer in that dovey-dovey love relationship style. They've both decided to go their own way, or they've been forced to go their own ways, or been forced to live apart from themselves and the children, living maybe one of them with the children with some arrangement. Okay, that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be looking at how to make that work. Why should we even be looking at it working? So my name is Richie Adewusi. I'm your regular host. This is the Slow Parenting program on Nostalgia Media. So call your friends that you know, maybe, yeah, reason of children. Okay, and our purpose are those children. Relationship between couples very important to us as well. But the key reason for the word parenting to be in existence is because, well, there are children involved. So, and the children are the primary targets of our programming here. And for the sake of the children too, we encourage couples to continuously work as a team. Work as a team to that started with certain boundaries about how they'll relate with their children and themselves, maybe certain from that boundaries they've set that should be, we always say, agreement on consequences and rewards for keeping or not keeping to the rules of the boundaries that you've agreed to. We also said that certain boundaries should mean that everyone involved that's included in the boundaries that have been set should take a part in agreeing in coming to set the boundaries. Discussion to have the boundaries set should involve everyone, including the children, so that there's ownership. That's it. General ownership of the for breaking them or the word for keeping them would be. So even um, do occur. Of course, they do occur for so many reasons. That's not our purpose on this episode will not, for whatever reason, they don't live on the same places anymore with their children, but they still have the responsibility for the upbringing of their children. So it is that shared responsibility, that teamwork, that we advocate for a rounded, effective, productive upbringing of the children, okay, that we call co-parenting. And that's what we want to talk about today. I have written a book on thing released yet. I held it back just of being of being brought up by parents who, for the sake of the children, agree to, well, suspend, for want of a better word, I'll use hostilities, you know, for the sake of their children. So that's the word. We decide to continue to be friends, even when we are separated, even when we are divorced, for the sake of our children. That is the backdrop for parenting. So therefore, co-parenting, of course, then would mean that a couple that were previously married or lived together as common law partners that would have decided to go their separate ways, come to some agreements and some conclusions about still going ahead to bring up their children in unison as a team. Dad playing the role of the father, mom playing the role of the mother, even from a distance, with specific agreed tasks, roles, functions, and responsibilities. Okay? So I will first talk about things that would not help co-parenting. Remember again, we've said that what's the entire purpose of parenting is to have our children grow up to become the best versions of themselves in society, to have them grounded in your culture, in your tradition, in your family values, your ethical values, and even the legal codes of the society where you live or where you come from, as the case may be. Okay? So when separation has happened, we have several research documents showing that the children feel the impact the more. Okay? And then the children don't exist, wouldn't exist, or wouldn't live in a vacuum. They're living in a society or in societies populated by other human beings that they would inevitably have to relate with. Schoolmates, workmates, neighbors, friends, and ultimately, maybe their own partners somewhere down the road. So it's important to have that in mind, that other human beings are involved in our issues, meaning the partners, the parents. You have the children who would also have other individuals with whom they're going to have different kinds of relationship going forward. So it still remains important that we bring them up, we prepare them for those relationships by our own living, you know, by our own modeling, mirroring. The mirroring and modeling could be positive, could be negative. Now, I said we'll start by talking about what it would not be helpful to co-parenting. It has happened, whatever reason created the separation. Now, hatred for yourselves as partners, for whatever reason, would not help your children. It will rub off on the children. The children themselves might become bitter, okay, rebellious to both of you, really, not just to the person you are telling them that person is that person a human being. If you were to be a human being, he will be here, he will be the one, or she will be here, with one ticket. No, those kind of languages backfire on both, well, previous partners. The children notice, even before the breaks happen, the children take notes. The children grieve, they agonize, sometimes silently, sometimes vocally. Vocally means they ask questions, they express uh, their feelings openly to either or both of the parents. So, for the sake of the children, hatred, malice, slander is not going to be helpful, in the growth and development of those children. So find a way to remove, even if you do not remain friends. Yeah. Even if the separation was somehow atrocious and all of that, even if you don't, find it in yourselves not to speak negatively about your partners in the presence of your children, at least. Even if you have to, even if you get to indulge in such talks, and do not engage in speaking negatively about your, well, previous partners in the presence of, it will not. Do not prevent your partner, previous partner, previous husband, previous wife, from having access to your children. In certain situations, that arise from separations and divorces, couples tend to weaponize access to the children of the union, the previous union, against themselves. Okay, even when they get to agree, even when some couples get to agree to say, okay, you can have the children at social time, or they can come with you social time, have access to them, so have, even when those happen, the time the children spend with their agreed time become the time of indoctrination of, this is what this person has been doing. That, well, I go back to that point one, that first point, to say, don't, express negative, messages. Don't put out negative information concerning your previous partner to your children. When you have agreements to let children go to their father, children go to their mother, keep to those agreements. And for the sake of the access to seeing their father or seeing their mother, please don't deny such requests. Even when they don't, you are talking about that partner nicely and creating some kind of desire for the children to want to see that person. It's not for you, it's not for him or her, it's for the children. So learn to speak, positively, nicely about your partners, even when you are no longer in a relationship. I'll give an example here. And for those who have been following the slow parenting program, I have shared a number of times uh, the relationship between my father and my mother. Okay, we got separated not because they quarreled or they divorced. No, it was something that was beyond both of them. It was the reason or the issue of the Nigeria Civil War, the one they call the Biafra War. My father is from the southwest part of Nigeria. My mother is from the southeast and part of Nigeria. Both of them met in the southeastern part of Nigeria, okay, and started that union. Now, in the course of the hostilities that led to the Nigerian Civil War, the people of the southeastern part of Nigeria, of course, there were reports, about people from the southeastern part being, you know, um, unalived, and all such things, and in other parts of Nigeria, northern part, southwestern part. So the hostilities became mutual, even amongst civilians, not soldiers now, among civilians, even amongst neighbors, in-laws. Well, um, in order for my father not to get unalived by his hitherto in-laws that cherished him over time and all of that, he had to leave the southeastern part of Nigeria and return to the southwestern part, to return to Lagos specifically. And we were left, with our mother throughout the period of the Civil War. But there's a variation in that story that I've not really shared on this program, so that we also see how that protective instinct from some parents might tend to overwhelm the general, good. In most cases, I'm not saying this accusatorily, in most cases, it's the mothers. They always, oh, I don't know, I don't want anything to happen to my children. Now, after our father left the first time to go back, he returned to visit. And when he was to return to Lagos, he took me and one of my elder brothers with him to Lagos. So when all of that time, people could still move around, people could still travel, back and forth. But as it was becoming clear that a civil war probably could not be avoided, even amongst the general population, that feeling was up in the air there. I wrote a book about the Biafra War, by the way, anyway. So the issues I'm raising here are in that book, written about 14 years ago. Now, our mother, in that show of concern for, what's going to happen to my children, sent our sister, my only sister, she's late now, my mother's only daughter, to travel to Lagos to smuggle myself and my elder brother back to the East without our father's consent. Okay? I was taken from the school. I went to school. Okay? Our sister arrived, brought gifts. It was around almost Christmas time, brought gifts for my mom, for all of us, her dad, every other family member, but did not, share, main reason for traveling all the way from Aba in the southeast to Lagos in the southwest. It was with express instruction from our mother to bring us back at all cost. And so what I went to school on that particular day, normally I was taken to school, and my sister appeared just even before classes started. And as a child, how old was I then? How was I? Maybe 7 or so. And so my sister was happy, but she was hovering around the school, not really letting, and she was motioning, come, come. And of course, I went to my sister and then come follow me. That was how we left from school. And you could imagine the trauma that the old man would have gone through before eventually maybe realizing what would have happened. The same thing, the same thing happened about the time I was not a teenager, then I now had to travel. Our mother didn't want us to know people are going to harm you if you go over there, only you. Let's not prepare our children with those kind of mindsets. I'm sharing this here because I'm a product of, well, separation, but not separation out of malice, not separation out of a quarrel, circumstantial separation. That was not at the behest of any of the two partners. By the way, our father traveled immediately. There was cessation of hostilities between the federal troops and the Biafran troops, and there was, well, the war was over, in quotes, because it has not ended. That war hasn't ended till today. Our father drove all the way in the midst of that whole confusion, all the way from Lagos to, be with us, taking all sorts of risks. Yes, that reassured everybody. But when I now became a teenager and was like, well, our dad want to, our mother was like, no, you'll be here. You're going to be here. Things are going to happen to you. So this wasn't anybody smuggling me or, sending, no. I had to smuggle myself, not smuggle. I had to just buy a bus ticket, get into a bus as a teenager, and take off to go to see my father in Lagos, our father in Lagos. And then started school in Lagos. And our mother grieved and mourned. Now, you don't need to do all of those. You did not bring your children up single-handed, even if it was by a donor or whatever. There's always a need for a male figure, a female figure in the upbringing of any child. Very important. But in this case, we are talking about people who know themselves, who were previously married, or common law partners, okay, or just couples that had children, but that lived together, but then decided to go their separate ways. Do not create barriers. Do not paint your partners in negative light with your children. What you are doing is you're setting landmines, time bombs in those children that would explode somewhere in the future in their own relationships. I've had some very not nice experiences about people who who witnessed relationship between their parents not being smooth and cordial, growing up to replicate those scenarios in their own marriages, in their own relationships, thereby perpetuating, the occurrence of, because they have their children also watching, they're going to have their own relationships, the same things will continue. And we are all talking about having better societies. How is it going to happen? Societies don't run without human beings. Human beings determine what happens within societies. What happens within societies and what happens in relationship between people in society. So when you have children who are brought up to respect their parents first, follow boundaries set in family environments, okay, follow development patterns that have been discussed, charted for them, with them, you have individuals who would get into society and then contribute their own quota for the expected, desired societal growth. But the reverse is the case when we have children who grow up in homes where there are always conflicts, where there are always name calling, where there's no love, no likeness, no fondness, no smoothness. There's no magic. There's no magic. We have a contribution from a community member here. Let's see what this is? Okay. Mm. How can two parents with different values of parenting style raise well-adjusted children? Well, if they were living together, I think we've taken this severally at different episodes. If they're living together, um, it's they could be there to work it out. Those things will be situated within the boundaries they have all set and agreed on. Okay, that's bringing up. Uh, you have different. Let me state this. You are two different individuals. So the issue of how can two parents with different values and parenting style, you are brought up by two different sets of parents. So you are different to start with. So let nobody kid themselves that you are the same. You're not the same. All that happens from scratch is that you've agreed that in spite or despite your different styles of upbringing for yourselves, that you now want to build your own family from an agreed standpoint. That's the first thing, agreements. And that is where the issue of boundaries come in. That's the first thing that should happen, okay? How can two parents be different? You agree to coordinate your parenting styles and values. You now create your family. This is Richie. This is Mary, brought up by two parents, two parents. Now you are coming together to be a family, to have children, to build a family. You now agree on what your own family values would be. Of course, leveraging on your culture and your tradition and the legal statutes that govern where you live or where you stay at. Okay, so that is the boundaries. Discuss them, agree on them, and enforce them. Okay. There's another one here. It says, how does unresolved conflict between parents affect children long time? That question almost answers itself. If you do not resolve conflicts, it leads to different things. You are not kind to yourselves. You don't talk nicely with yourselves or about yourself. The children notice those things. You don't do things in support of yourselves. Instead, you antagonize yourselves. The children see those antagonisms. You don't want that to happen, especially in the area of co-parenting. Generally in parenting, but especially in around the issues of co-parenting. That is why now a set of children will not want to see the other partner at all. We don't want to see him because you have sown those seeds. It's not the children initially, it's you. Let children make up their own minds. Okay? Let them make up their own mind. Why should they make their minds up by themselves? They are going to go into their own relationship. Okay? Give them information that will help them to make informed decisions about their own relationship and for not damaged information, which will result to damaged decision making, which will lead to damaged relationship. Because society values or puts the value premium on, oh, this person is married, you're not married. People see it as a do or die affair to get married to whoever, especially at certain point, especially females. They respond to like a clock, if you like, a calendar, a timeline. Oh, I'm getting too old, I must do this. And then people get into relationship they don't have any business getting into, and then end up having children that they shouldn't, have brought into the world because you are not prepared to take care of those children. You're not prepared to bring those children up in loving ways, okay, that would make them loving human beings themselves, that will be helpful and useful to society in terms of team building. Okay? Wow. Why are there so many contributions today? Nice thing. Okay, I'm not complaining. Okay. So, what's the difference between co-parenting and parallel parenting, and when is each one appropriate? Well, co-parenting, of course, doesn't happen when both of you are in the same place. It happens that you are separated, you are going your different ways, or because of study, travel, work, you live in different cities. Parallel parenting can happen in those ones, but I'll come back to that. Co-parenting is that you separated, divorced, but you agree to parent your children together with certain terms and conditions and agreements. Okay? Now, parallel parenting, you both of you are there in the house. The father says go right, mother says go left. Now, don't mind him. That's how he always talks. Go do what you're doing. That's parallel parenting. That's not helpful. Both of you, the partners involved in parallel parenting are not quarreling. Well, they live together. They're still in that relationship, whether a marriage or common law, or just friends who decide to live together and have children. All of it happened in society anyway. So I'm not talking out of point here. We know we probably know such friends or family members, okay, that didn't get married but they have children with their partners. Okay, so it's there. So I'm not talking out of point. Now, parallel parenting is now that you are there, you're not quarreled, you're not divorced, you're not separated, but then you do not agree on how your children should behave. You present, conflicting instructions or directives or support system for your children. You feel they like their father too much, so I should do something to make them like me. So you begin to do things that are contrary to maybe even if you had set up family boundaries, you begin to indulge the children. Indulgence is a very dangerous tool in parallel parenting, and it's intentional. One of the reasons is they like this person too much. I'm here. I'm your mother. Don't you? Or I'm your father. I'm the one who does this and that for you. Why would you? Is it always only a man? And then we begin to battle over the possession, in quotes, of the children. You shouldn't do that. At the end, you create confused human beings. You create rebellious human beings. You create human beings that would play you against yourself and damage themselves in the process. So by the time they are starting their own relationship, there are issues. Okay, I'm going to pause here. We're going to play a short video. Our videos are always short to take us through, a little bit of um, what I always like to let some other person say something about the issue area we're talking about, so you don't hear from just me. Okay, stay on, don't go away. We'll be back.
So my 11-year-old son is going to go live with his dad full time. Now, he has been with me primarily since birth. He'll be 11, but for parts of junior high and then his high school life, he's going to go live full time with his dad. That's always been our agreement. We co-parent well, we don't miss events, we split time, you know what I mean? We do really well together. But there comes a point, I think, in a young man's life that a man needs to teach you how to be a man. I am not a man. I'm never going to be a man. I can try to understand man's role in this world, but I'm not a man. So he's going to go live with his dad. I will get him on the weekends. We will kind of reverse roles. And I think that that's the right path because, again, his father is supposed to teach him how to be a man. And his father is a good man. He's a good man. But the level of flack I get from, honestly, predominantly like other moms are like, you're just going to give up your baby? First of all, he's not a baby anymore. And I'm not giving him up. I'm just allowing his father to do what he's supposed to do, which is teach him how to be a man. And sometimes you got to get out of the way. Because I'll be honest, I baby my son. And as a mother, I feel like I should be able to do that. Why? Because he has his dad to balance that out. So I'm going to do what I need to do and get out the way so that his father can teach him how to be a man. I don't understand where the feedback comes, where it's like, oh, you're abandoning him. I can't believe you give up your baby to his father. Yeah, no.
Welcome back. Well, I hope that was um, helpful. It's to the benefit of the children that you agree, okay, to have time for them, have time with them, okay? Now we've talked about what should not happen. Let's look at some of the things that would help us in the process of co-parenting, okay? First, agree on responsibilities, including times, including spaces. Maintain boundaries, respect your boundaries about your own relationship. Remember, you're coming together because of the children, okay? But then we've seen where relationships get back to normal for the sake of the children again, from such meetings, from such agreements. Okay, we're going to do this, like the children's special days, birthdays, school projects, church programs, community programs, vocational programs. Let the children agree on how to meet on those days, on those occasions, and let the children feel that joy that comes from both of you are there. Okay? If you agree on time, keep to the time, please. If for any reason you then would not be able to attend, discuss it. Let everyone involved know and give the reasons upfront so that it doesn't get taken as, well, it doesn't care, especially by the children. Okay? Visits. To partners to see the children, see the environment the children are in. But of course, again, there are other issues that might have come up in those relationship types. The partners might have gotten involved in other relationships. So it also makes sense to let those other partners get the consent of those other partners. Okay, so person is coming to pick up Junior, or just coming to share Junior's birthday time with her. And we all agree. So everybody gets to grow happily in those kind of environment. Well, happily in quotes, because there's a saying in Nigeria in those days about a particular drug. It's called Panadol. If it's not Panadol, it is not Panadol. Meaning, you separated, but then it's not the end of the world. Okay? You make it work for the children. That is what co-parenting is designed or is supposed to do. Help the children have a semblance of both of you still providing parenting duties for them. So it would require sacrifices. Remember, both of you, both partners, both couples separated or divorced for a reason. So those reasons have not disappeared, would not have disappeared. So it wouldn't make any sense to keep dwelling on those reasons. You've already separated. That's between both of you. You've already divorced. That's between both of you. So it doesn't make sense to continue to say, that's how he does. You're always late for things. No. You've moved on, it's moved on, but you are there waiting for him or her because of your child, because of your children. So maintain, the peace, as it were, for the purpose, for the occasion. Reach out. Oh, we've not seen you. Hope all is well. Oh, well, yeah, your dad says he's in traffic. He'll be here soon. Be nice for the sake of your children. Okay? Be nice. So let's see here. I think there's another. Okay, this one, yeah, is really point up for it. He said, what does putting the child first practically look like in difficult co-parenting scenarios? It's simply forgetting your own issues, no matter how difficult they might be. It's easier said than done. But then, for the sake of the child, for the sake of the children, you put your children first. You go to see somebody that, remember, why did you separate in the first place? If you now be attending parties and with the same person, okay? But it's because of the child, it's because of the children. And that is what putting your child or your children first means, or should mean, or would mean. That you have, in spite of all else, decided you are going to be there in that same place with this person you've said over your whatever. You're not going to have anything to do with this person. Okay? Because of your children, you agree to meet, sit, discuss tasks, responsibilities, roles, timings, okay, functions, spaces, and of course, boundaries. Yes, I'm coming to see my child. Please don't get any further ideas for the child. Discuss it. Don't assume it. If that's really your position. But if your position is that, well, who knows, maybe we made a mistake that time. Well, you leave the relationship open, continue to see, you have time to now reevaluate yourselves. And like I said earlier, there have been cases where all those meetings, all those family ceremonies, programs happen, and one thing leads to the other. The couples get back together. People have been that divorce have been known to remarry. Yeah. So those things don't happen out of the blues. Things lead to them. And in some cases, it's the children. You begin to see that there are things you overlooked. There were things you took out of context. And then maybe you begin to see that this person who thought was really that terrible. Well, this is not what this not. In some cases, people have gone into other relationships and come to find out that, well, um, I think it wasn't like this there. And somehow they get back to where they are coming from. Okay. So putting your child first is putting all other things on hold to care for your children, to bring up your children to be the best versions of themselves for their own good and for the good of society. Okay. Last one here says, co-parents truly can co-parents truly be friends, or is mutual respect enough? Start with mutual respect. Okay? Start with mutual respect. Mutual respect could develop into friendship. Friendship could develop into getting back. I just said in the last and answering the last question or contribution here that partners who broke up, who divorced, have been known to get back together in the process of having to bring their children up. Okay? So mutual respect is not to be taken for granted. Should come from boundaries. This is it. This is when we meet here. This is where we're going to be. I'll arrive at this time. This time I'm going to leave. I'm coming with so person. Okay, everybody. There's an agreement that shows mutual respect, and from there you're meeting with the children on time, real time, in different places, sometimes maybe on vacations. I've heard where co-parenting or who co-parents go on vacation with their children. Okay. And some of them still keep to themselves, run their own routines. But when it comes to the time for being with the children, maybe which might be the reason why they went on the joint vacation, they are there for the children. And at the end of the day, everybody go to where they come from. But sometimes some other things develop. Some things get back to how they used to be or close to how they used to be. And they begin to say, well, Don't you think we made a mistake that time? Maybe we should just, and then people do get back together from mutual respect. They become friends. From becoming friends, they get back to becoming partners again. Okay, it happens. And the last question I'm going to take here is, how should holidays, birthdays, and special events be handled in blended or co-parenting families? I think we've already spoken to that. Maybe this person uh, is just joining us, but for the benefit of that person, we said use those, note those dates. Don't take them for granted. Agree on what should happen for the sake of the children. Remember, putting the children first for the sake of the children. Agree, or the children, depending on how many they are. Okay? Agree on what should happen on those days. Mark those days. Don't let the children, as much as possible, don't let the children be by themselves. Even if you are in a different city, different country from them. Thank God for technology. I'm here in Montreal, Quebec, in Canada. I'm speaking to you from whichever part of the globe you are listening to me. So technology makes it easy that we could attend events in places that are far, far away from us. So I agree, I won't be there, work or whatever other things. I will not be able to be in that place physically, but I will join you by Zoom, whatever other video conferencing uh, you know, tools, applications are available. Agree and set the links up. And when the time comes, activate the link and you're there. You'll be surprised, daddy, 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 oh, mommy, how are you? They're happy. That's the main thing. That they feel you are there with them, for them. Okay? So it's important that, we put our children first when it comes to our relationship issues, whether separated or divorced, or we're just living in two different cities, two different places for no reason, for no cause of ours. It just happened that we're not in the same place. Even in such scenarios, people get carried away by activities and, well, begin to drift apart. Consciously, co-parenting is a conscious endeavor. You must agree to co-parent. Then you must now agree on the terms of the co-parenting. Who is to do what, at what time, in what place, in what manner. Agree, spell everything out, and please keep to what you have agreed on. If there's going to be any changes at all, discuss those changes too and agree on the new ways forward. Okay? That is it for our program for today. Please subscribe to the Slow Parenting podcast. Support us. Help us to, be able to keep going on this program. Support us. Engage like you're already doing. Those who are sending those questions, those contributions, thank you for being part of our program. And please invite your friends, invite your colleagues and your associate or family members. Parenting is something that concerns all of us. You are either a parent right now, or you're a parent to be, or you're a grandparent, or you are somebody's child or children. Somebody gave back to you, no matter how old you are. Whether they are still here with us on earth or not, you were given back to by some people. And your upbringing from them become part of your tools or your, best practice uh, procedures for your own relationship with your children. Okay? So please invite others to join us here to contribute. And most importantly, please subscribe to the Slow Parenting. Right now, it doesn't cost you any money to subscribe. Just support us. Pretty soon, you might need to pay for to be part of this program because, again, we have to sustain it. We have to run it. So thank you so much for being part of our show today. Till come your time, to come your way again, same time next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, US and Canada, and 7 p.m. West African time, including Nigeria. My name is Richie Adewusi. Stay blessed. Bye bye.